All right, in this next lesson, we're going to talk about some ways to practice our transitions between the D chord, A, and the G chord. And we're also going to talk about how to make those shapes in your left hand. So let's talk about that first. Now, a D chord looks like this. My index finger is on the 2nd fret G string. My ring finger is on the 3rd fret B string, and my middle finger is on the 2nd fret high E string, and I only play the open D string plus all the strings beneath it. Right? So I'm strumming from the D string and below towards my feet. There's my D chord. Now my A chord looks like this. What I'm doing is I'm stacking my index and my middle and my ring finger, and I start with my index, 2nd fret D string, my middle finger underneath that, and my ring finger beneath my middle, right? So my index starts on the D string, my middle's on the G, and my ring is on the B string, and they're all inside the 2nd fret. Now I only strum from the A string down towards my feet. And of course, the high E string is also played open. There's my A chord. Now my G chord looks like this. What I'm doing here is I'm starting with my middle on the low E string closest to my chin, then my index on the 2nd fret A string. Then I'm strumming all strings below these two fingers open, right? D, G, and B. And then my ring finger grabs the 3rd fret on the high E. So those are the 3 chords we're working with. And what I want to practice is transitioning between these chords in time. A lot of times when we're playing rhythm, right, we have to make sure we keep time. For instance, if I were to play this progression, D, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4 to G, even if I'm not getting those chords perfectly, that's okay, but I still want to keep my right hand moving in time. So this chord gauntlet is going to help us train for that. So what I do is I set my trusty metronome to 60 BPM. All right, can you kind of see that there? 60 BPM. And I'm going to practice with that as my tempo setting, which is the same thing as, you know, looking at a clock tick each second. So if you don't have a metronome, you could tape a clock to your head. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play 1 measure of D in 4/4, all downstrokes, 1 measure of A, then 2 measures of G. Then after that, I'm going to play just 2 beats of D, 2 beats of A, so a split measure, and then 1 measure of G, and I'm going to repeat. What I'm doing is I'm transitioning quicker each time I go through 4 bars. All right, so I'll superimpose it here so you can kind of see it. All right, here we go. 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4 to A, 2, 3, 4 to G, 2, 3, 4 to G, 2, 3. Now I'm going to change quicker. D, 2, A, 4 to G, 2, 3, 4 back to D, 2 to A, 4 to G, 2, 3, 4. So that's how I'm practicing my transitions, going 1 measure for the first 4 bars, 1 measure for D, 1 measure for A, 2 for G, and then in the second set of 4 bars, I'm going to split the measure. D for 2 beats, A for 4 beats, then just 1 measure of G instead of 2. And then I'm going to repeat that. Now, if I was getting really good at that, then on the 3rd line of 4 measures, I could switch almost every beat so that I was going D, A, G, 4, D, A, G, 4, D, A, G, 4. So if I were to run that whole gauntlet and include that 3rd line of transitioning, it would look like this. 3, 4, D, Now I'm going to split the measure. D to A, 4 to G, 2, 3, 4, D, 2 to A, 4 to G, 2. Now this is the super hard line. D, A, G, 4. Ouch! Ooh. Just work on the first 2 lines of that chord gauntlet. Only switch on every beat once you're extremely comfortable with those first 2 lines. That third line, I don't even know if I should put it in this video. I might just edit it out because it is that hard when you were starting out. So please do not get frustrated with that third line. If there's any frustration at all, again, don't even worry about it. Don't even do it. Okay, that's your D, A, and G chord gauntlet. Have fun.